All right, guys and girls. This is Brian Kaiser with the Digging Deep YouTube channel, and we've had a few questions here recently about kind of what we do on a day-to-day basis as far as account managers and what our role is, and stuff like that. So today I thought it'd be a good opportunity because I'm going to multiple different locations and different places to check on crews and do some different things. Like I said, it'd be a good opportunity for me to show y'all kind of our day-to-day, or my day-to-day routine and what we do as far as checking on places, checking on crews, properties, and projects that we have going on. So as it stands right now, it's about 9 o'clock. Just left the office, just pulled up to a gas station to get me some nicotine and caffeine. I'm sure some of y'all can relate, but guys got to work at 6:30.
The First Alert Weather Team is now available.
Yo, excuse my personal phone, the weather alert. But yeah, the guys got to work at 6:30. Got them their paperwork, went over their routes with them as far as the maintenance crews, gave them any special instructions, any complaints and whatnot, and kind of told them what I expect from each property and on that route for today. Got with the enhancement crew, who I've got a project doing some plantings for, and just told them what they need to finish up, kind of what I expect. They shouldn't be there all day. I'd say about half a day to maybe 3/4 of a day, depending on how things go. Probably could have been done yesterday, but they were digging some holes for some 8-foot arborvitaes and hit a lateral line for irrigation, so that's got to get repaired first before they finish up. But yeah, so like I said, the guys got out of the office, which is obviously standard, and then after we get the kids off to school, so to speak, I typically go in the office, go through emails, do some billing if need be from the day before, last week, or whatnot. I try to stay on top of the billing as things get done, as far as our enhancement crews get done with completed projects. I try to do those the following day, but as y'all know, it's springtime right now and it's pretty hectic, so I'm kind of behind on that. But anyway, I got caught up on that, and like I said, went through emails, read some emails from customers, went through some Indeed applications, because we're still in the process of weeding out some bad apples and getting rid of some people that we don't think may or may not work, and rehiring new people, which is just constant in this industry. In a perfect world, you know, you've got a low turnover rate, good foremen, good crew leaders, but it seems to be, you know, in this day and age, that nobody wants to work, nobody has a work ethic, so it's constant. It's just a constant revolving door, it seems, from what it used to be, I'd say 8, 9, 10 years ago. I've only been in this role as an account manager for, I think this is my 5th summer, going on my 4th year, if that makes sense. I got hired on, I think, in June. So yeah, but I've been in the industry going on, I think, yeah, since 2008. I started in high school, kind of doing some stuff during the summer months with a local company. They're no longer in existence. They got bought out by a bigger company, which I worked for I think 5 or 6 years. So anyway, I'm not new to this role anymore as far as an account manager. I've been in the industry, and I knew how things, I just being a foreman and a crew leader, I saw things, but never really had to deal with them on this level, so to speak. So, yeah, you can never really prepare. I think, like we stated in one of the podcasts, for this time of year, you try to stay on top of things, but it's just always hectic this time of year. But it typically, I'd say, levels off and slows down maybe the end of May, beginning of June. So yeah, it keeps things interesting, to say the least. But anyway, yeah, I'm rolling here, get some nicotine and caffeine to get me through the day, and then I'll speak to y'all again on a job site. All right, guys, girls, just pulled up to this job site that I was telling you about earlier. That so basically here they just replaced some dead arborvitaes they were using as a screen, replaced them with 8-foot emerald greens, and then took up some old rosemary, put down some new, and replaced some azaleas with some more Tuscan blue rosemary. But yeah, essentially the crew's already left. You know, told them to go through the irrigation system, make sure everything runs like it should, and new plant materials being hit. But so I'm just going to essentially just go back behind them, check the plantings, make sure they were done correctly, and all that. So I'm gonna run over here to the clock, turn these zones on, see what we got. I'll set y'all right here for a second. And also, once everything is I know everything is watering or getting watered that's supposed to, as it should be, the new plant material. I'm also gonna run through and do I've already done my spring startup, but I'm gonna turn the new plant material, set it on a different program so it can water more frequently than the established turf and older plant material. And then I'll come back here in a few weeks and set it back to program A with the rest of the stuff so it can run as normal. But yeah, I'm just going to turn zone 3 on, which is for the rosemary. Make sure everything's operating as it should. And this is a Hunter Pro C controller, which is by far the easiest controller to deal with, as stated in our previous podcast. Y'all bear with me, doing this on my phone, so thought I could just gonna be able to swap the view around. But alright, so we're just gonna come check. So we didn't plant those azaleas. I'll show you what we planted. Just rosemary back here. And they're in a staggered row. Wanted to keep separation off the house, obviously. It's not as staggered as I'd like, but as you can tell, we didn't have much room to work with. MPs are working like they should. I did have to adjust one of these because it was overspraying a good bit. And here's some more rosemary. We've pulled up some, I believe, Gigi Gerving azaleas and put Tuscan blue rosemary. We didn't. She put the pot here, I think. We had to fix some irrigation under these pots. It was busted, that pot and that pot. Go out here to the, let's go here to the arborvitaes. So I'm gonna turn zone 3 off, which I just set it for 3 minutes manually, and it just went off. And then I'm gonna go to zone 5, which is for the arborvitaes. Make sure they're getting adequate coverage, which y'all see. Those down there on the far end didn't die. And honestly, there was an irrigation issue a while back, and at that time she didn't want to repair the brake, and so we just turned time off that zone. And for some reason those just didn't make it down there, so those are the ones we replaced. But yeah, and then these azaleas will be getting replaced with butterfly bushes. I believe I'd have to look back at the quote, but I believe I know it's 3 gallon white. I believe they're the pukester, the dwarf. Yeah, just make sure MPs are working like they should. And then also, while I'm here, I like to try to make, anytime I'm on a job site and we do the maintenance, which is 9 times out of 10, I go around and just make checklists of things, little punch list items to give to the maintenance crew. That way I can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But I won't bore y'all with any of that. So yeah, I'm gonna set these 2 zones on a different program so they can water more frequently. Set the start time for that program, and then I'll meet you back at the next job site. I didn't want to show you all this. Obviously, main thing is to check irrigation. We know it's good, but I didn't want to get the phone wet. But also, I'll come in here and make sure there's no dirt on top of these root balls. As you can see, there's a little bit there. And also at the same time, make sure the planting height is good. So everything appears to be good. Y'all can see there's the top of the root ball. It's kind of hard to see on this, but I'll just go down through each one and make sure that there's no dirt on it. Everything seems to be good. Also, just make sure they didn't leave any tools. Obviously, the foreman should do that before they get out of here. But you know, we're human and we all make mistakes sometimes, so it happens. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of show y'all. Obviously, I wasn't just done checking as far as what they did, but I didn't want to get the phone soaking wet. It's hard to kind of show y'all without getting it wet what to look for. But yeah, you don't when you're planting stuff, you don't want to put dirt. You don't want to put them too high. Plant them too high, but you don't want to plant them too low. But I've always been taught higher is better than lower. But there is a fine line. You want about, you know, half inch and a half above grade. Some may even say half inch, which is fine. You just want it higher above grade, and don't put soil on top of the root ball, or essentially you'll suffocate it. You want water to be able to run off of there, those root balls. And then I'll stand back here and make sure they're all standing up straight. They just went in the same hole as before, and some of them are wider than others. That's why the spacing looks off, but obviously it's meant to be a hedge. They'll grow into each other, but want to make sure the tops of them are straight. Aesthetically they look good, and they're not leaning forward, you know, backwards or forwards. They're side to side. So just like I said, just double checking back behind them, doing my due diligence. In a perfect world, you catch them as they're cleaning up. I got caught up to where I couldn't do that, but you learn your crews and know what they're capable of, and had confidence that obviously this would be done accordingly into my standards, so I didn't have to be micromanaging them so much. So yeah, thought I'd just add that extra bit of information in there. And like I said, I wanted to show y'all as far as what I'm looking for on the root ball height, and making sure they were planted to the right depth. So it's a good client of ours. She's been with us since before I started here, and yeah, she's been good to us, and so try to make her happy. And I'll get with her before I do billing, send her an email, and just make sure that she's happy with the plantings, obviously, before I just go sending her a bill. But you can also see she had some aeration done. We didn't do the aerations. We do provide that service, but I think she's used a company or a guy for multiple years now, and you know, so it may be something in the future I'll talk to her about. That way she can just write one bill and be done as far as landscaping goes. There's a weed. I'll pull it before I go, obviously, but she owns this empty lot, and she just likes to make sure we keep it trees limbed up and clean, don't let it get out of hand. And like I said, I'll make my final little punch list items for the maintenance crew before I go. I've already set those two zones, set them on a different program, and set a reminder in my phone 2 weeks from now to come back and put them back on the same program with all the existing shrubs, which is program A, so they can run with everything else on a normal 3-day watering schedule and basis. Which this in Alabama, yeah, we had an early spring, but 3 days right now, it's not 90 or 100 degrees, so 3 days a week is sufficient. So yeah, tell me, I'd like to get some feedback as far as if there's anybody else, as far as account managers or owners, that do anything differently. But yeah, just make sure everything's tidied up and going about my day. Yeah, I'll see you back at the next one. All right, guys, girls, back at the second stop for the day. had to go, had to make a pit stop before I came here, which was of course out of the way. My commercial crew somehow lost their four-way, their Silcock key, which is the only way to get water out of I'd say 95% of the commercial buildings that we have, and that's pretty standard as far as where water the tap is and spigots at big commercial properties. So yeah, I told them to spray a certain area this morning, and he called me, like I said, as I was leaving the planting job, and said that he couldn't find it. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but just got to keep rolling on. Had to go out of my way to go bring him the one that I had, so I didn't have to stop, but I'll eventually have to stop because I like to keep a spare on my truck. But I'll have to eventually make a stop and get a new one, or just order another one from Amazon. But yeah, so at this stop, I guess it was Monday. Yeah, the enhancement crew installed some sod in a new area the customer wanted to extend, and I'll walk y'all down there and show y'all. But as I was coming back behind him just to make sure all the heads worked as they should, and he had checked it obviously and said everything was okay, but like I said, I just want to do my due diligence and come behind him before I send the customer a bill, make sure everything's tidied up and ready to go. But I noticed, I guess it occurred because the maintenance crew came by right after they did that day, after they had left that day, and the maintenance crew came by and did the maintenance, and I guess they hit one of these these Rainbird rotary heads that waters a portion of this grass. There's plenty of heads in this area that get this grass area that was this newly installed grass area. But you know, with springtime coming to an end and summer right around the corner, might as well go ahead and get this fixed, and plus it will help out on this zone watering the newly installed sod, and plus obviously it's just the right thing to do, get the whole system operating. I came by and did the springtime assessment, turn on, whatever you want to call it, before the guys installed the sod. That way, before I gave the customer a quote, I knew if there were going to be any irrigation adjustments, and wanted to price it accordingly, which all the heads that were existing were going to do what we needed them to do and water the new sod. But yeah, so after they laid the sod a few days ago, Monday, maintenance guys came by, and I guess they somehow hit a rotary head that hits the bottom portion of this guy's yard, and also the newly installed grass. So I came by here yesterday after I stopped by the enhancement crew that just completed that new planting job for me that I just showed y'all. I came by here yesterday after I checked on them, and just to do some things, like I said, and run through the irrigation, and noticed that head. And of course I had everything I needed but the spiraled barbed elbow, because the whole cam was just obliterated. So I told him I'd be by here next time I'm in the area, which is obviously today because I just checked on that crew. And so yeah, I'm gonna show y'all here in a few seconds how to just replace a 4-inch Rainbird 5000 rotary head. Pretty simple process, but also, so essentially before I left the office this morning, I knew I was going to be in this area checking on the enhancement crew after they got done with their planting job. And so I essentially, once I'm in an area and start my area there in the morning, I want to do as much as I possibly can in that area, as far as checking on other properties, any to-dos that I have on my calendar, spring irrigation assessment startups. Just try to knock out as much of what's on my to-do list that is in my area, or in that area, that I start my morning in. As you can see, your day can get pretty hectic pretty quick and out of whack, because like I said, I had to go give that commercial crew a Silcock key, a 4-way, so they could spray the area that needs to be sprayed, because I didn't want to wait, because I've learned in this industry, if you wait and put something off, it seems like you never get back to it, and if you do, it's weeks and weeks on down the road. So yeah, so like I said, we're going to replace that one rotary head, which I got a box out of our storage unit, irrigation storage unit, because I like to keep, we're in a single cab F-150, and we don't keep these trucks stocked nearly like I would like, but I try to have everything I need. A box, I'll just empty the box, put it in my my toolbox with my 4, 6, and 12-inch pop-ups and all the rest of my other rotary heads, funny pipe, make sure I've got all my fittings, nozzles, and all that. That way when I do my spring startups, if there's a little repair, tweak, or something, I can do it then, and I don't have to run to the supply store. So if you can save, and that saves me time, and just stops altogether. So I try to be as efficient as I can about my day, but all it takes is 1 or 2 phone calls or mishaps from the crews, or this or that, to throw it out of whack. But then you gotta get back to it. So yeah, we're gonna change out this head. I'm gonna make sure I have everything I need, and then I'll meet y'all down there where we're gonna make this repair. All right, so we're back down here at this head. As you can see, it's just the top is kind of been knocked off to where all your adjustments are. I mean, you could probably get down in there, but it's also sitting cockeyed. It needs to be straightened up, and I'm gonna try to sink it down a little bit more so the guys can mow and do what they need to without causing this issue again. But there's the sod up there. Let's see. So essentially all what you see of the new sod was more natural area, and he wanted to bring some sod in and bring it down to this area. Want to keep some separation. We didn't want to bring it too close to the tea olives, because those tea olives will probably get a little bit bigger. They need to be shaped up, and like I said, while I'm here, I'll make some punch list items. Like there's some sucker trees and weeds in those drift roses, and I'll make some any other, and even in the lower pedalum, there's some weeds and stuff like that. So I'll be sure to maintenance crew gets that taken care of. But yeah, so there's a lot of more heads in this area that hit this, and some more rotors down here along the lake. But this head obviously hits some of the bottom portion of this, and even a little bit of this crepe myrtle, and some more of the existing turf down here. So obviously we want to get it fixed. Within some of our newer contracts, we've got an allowance built in to the contracts when we do spring startups, that we can make the necessary repairs and tweaks to get the zones and everything operating as they should. But we got to stay within that allowance. Obviously, you get to know your customers and get to know that, or you understand that some still want some good communication, and some you just know that are going to say do it. Still maybe nice to give them a courtesy text or phone call and let them know obviously what's going on, what you found during the startup, and if anything needs to be repaired, if everything's okay, and still tell them that, hey, there's a head that's busted. I'm gonna get it fixed next time I'm out there. So yeah, I'm gonna try to flip the camera around here in a second, and just let y'all kind of see the processes as far as how to replace this head, or just the guts of it. I may leave the can, just depends. So we'll see once we get digging. All right, I know y'all probably can't see this head that I'm about to repair, but it's just a 4-inch rotary head. Usually I like to get a trash bag, put any dirt over there on top of the trash bag. I try to keep my area as clean as possible, and leave it exactly how it was when I found it. Sometimes you know, obviously go above and beyond if you can, and you in that situation better than how you found it. So yeah, we're just gonna cut cut a circle out around this head, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Rarely is it. And I could have a crew do this, but there's no point. He just said go ahead and do it. I told him I'd do it next time I'm in the area, so it won't take 5 seconds. Yeah, start by cutting this ring out around the head. As y'all can see, there's a hole in the middle where the head was. And then I tell people all the time, when you're doing irrigation work, dig more than you think you have to. It just gives you more room to work with. There's a big old root down in here. There's roots all in here. Obviously you want to tread lightly, but you still got to cut through roots and dirt and whatnot. So, but you don't want to cause more damage than you have to, or to the funny pipe or barb, or if you can salvage the can, which is essentially, in the industry we call what the top and springs sit down into. This is the can. A lot of the times, in this instance, I'm just gonna replace, is that a hunter or a rainbird? You can't put a hunter top on a rainbird and vice versa, just threads don't line up. But I'm probably that's a hunter, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace the whole head. Also, it gives you confidence that all the internal pieces and whatnot are new, and it'll work as it should. I'd say 95% of the time, just replacing the top works, and you know, sometimes it doesn't. I've got enough area to work right here in the natural area where I don't have to have a bag, so I can put a lot of this dirt right here. A lot of times if I have to cut more pieces of sod out, I want to try to put them where they go as far as where I took them out. That way they kind of fit back together like a puzzle piece. A lot of times if you can wiggle this around the sidewalls of the hole where the can sits, you can compact the sidewalls enough to where it won't cave in on you when you take it off the barb. But since we're going to try to get this one a little bit below grade, as it should be, I'm going to dig down till I hit funny pipe in the barb. That way I can get underneath the funny pipe and barb and just sink it a little bit lower so this doesn't happen again. Thought I had a small little hand trowel in my truck, but obviously I've given it to somebody and didn't get it back, so. All right, I'm down to the barb and funny pipe. So I'm just gonna screw it off the 3/4 inch spiral barbed elbow, which is what the bottom of this rotary head screw into. You want to be, there's gonna be some residual water, but then take your new one and slap it on there. Make sure it's tight. And then at this point, I'm gonna go ahead, since I know there's water to this head, funny pipe, spiral barb, and everything is okay. It was just sitting weird, which was probably also why it was sitting above grade. But I'm gonna set my, if I can get my hands clean enough, I can grab my phone and show y'all. I'm gonna set the how wide it throws from left to right to cover from bed line to bed line and cover all the grass down here. So rainbirds, what I call a zero stop, is basically your set point. Let's see if I can show y'all. So rainbird, your set point is on the left side, and then you adjust it from left to right. So that's where it would stop right now. I need it to go a little bit past this bed line, which it's not doing right now. It's stopping right there at that crepe myrtle. So it's good left. There's a little adjustment right here that says plus and minus. You're gonna grab your Rainbird tool and you're gonna stick it down in this hole and find the threads on that screw and turn it to the plus sign and see how much further it stops that way now. It's not quite good enough. We're gonna take it again. And there's a little bit of grass down here, so I want it to almost do a, it's not on the edge, back behind the edge, the bed line, but there's some other heads on this left side that do, yeah, there's head-to-head coverage. And that head down there throws a little bit past this. So as long as we get all this below it, which isn't much covered, you'll be good. So, I mean, that's sufficient. I'm gonna dig this out a little bit more and underneath here and sink it down a little bit more below grade. And this will pop up when this zone comes on and spray this bottom portion of the turf. A lot of y'all may be asking why the turf looks like that. We scalped the turf back, you know, a few weeks ago, and it's still coming out of dormancy. So that's what we talked about in our podcast. I guess it was last week or the week before. We got a bunch of questions as to why my grass doesn't look as green as my neighbors and this and that. But yeah, that's kind of why this grass looks a little patchy. But once irrigation is running consistently, it'll start to green up and everything. So I'm gonna turn y'all back around, get y'all set up best I can. I'm just gonna remove a little bit more dirt underneath this can. It doesn't need to go down much more, but just enough to get it below grade. You want the top of this can sitting below grade. And sometimes you have to dig farther back down the funny pipe run to dig underneath the funny pipe. But yeah, it seems to be sufficient. So, and my throws, or my left to right, is good how I need it. I know the nozzle in here is good. So once I get this backfilled and buried, I'm just gonna cut the system on. I'm just gonna backfill a little bit in case something else is wrong. But I'm 99.9% sure and know that it was just the top of that head that was busted and broken, which was causing all that leaking, and plus it needed to be readjusted so it was sitting vertically as far as up and down goes. But yeah, I'm gonna backfill this and then I'll show you all the final product here in a second. All right, there's the final product. It's sitting low enough. I'm convinced, and I know it won't be an issue. So it's patch job is okay. It's never perfect, but all this grass will end up growing together. So I'm gonna go cut the system on just one last time, and we'll be on to the next one. All right, so we just put up to the next one. Next, I guess it'd be third, fourth stop of the day, actually. But here I'm doing a spring startup assessment. Won't be able to show y'all much of this. I wish I could. Probably should have gone to another one, but I had already done all the other startups that were on the side of town. This is kind of my last one. But won't be able to show y'all much of this one because it's a daycare. I just don't feel comfortable walking around with a camera and kids being outside and everything like that. So I'll just kind of walk you through briefly how I go about it and whatnot. First thing I do is want to make sure I have a handful of irrigation flags so I can mark things that I see broken or that may need adjustments. Have pen and paper, and then next step, literally just go to the clock. Start at station 1 and go from station to station, running through each station, checking every head, making sure there's no major leaks, making sure there's no heads that are leaking that need to be replaced, making sure the drip's working as it should, and flagging each issue that I see and writing on the paperwork zone 1 below that. If there's any issues, writing out what those issues are and where they are, and then going to zone 2 and so on and so forth, until I get to the last zone. And then at that point I'll leave the flags if they're not inside any play area or playground where kids can get to the flags, but I'll leave those areas marked. That way, once I type up the quote and get it to the client and I get approval, it's a lot easier for whoever's going to be doing the work, the repair work, to come back and know exactly where those issues are. Obviously, you don't want to just leave bright colored, yellow colored flags out on a property for more than a few weeks. They're just unsightly, unless you just have to, and then you need to communicate with the client as to why they're there, and then obviously tell the crew once they've finished with the repairs in that section or area to just take the flags with them. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, obviously I wish I could walk you around and kind of show you more of it. Hopefully I'll be able to do that at a later date and at another property. But yeah, it's 1:17 now, so I got to get on it because I like to try to get back to the office around 2:45, 3, because that way I have about an hour before the guys start to come in. I have an hour to go through emails for the day. I'll periodically, as I get to each stop, obviously we have smartphones and I get notifications as far as email and text messages, but sometimes I'm just in such a rush, in a hurry, trying to get things done and try to go about my day, try to get through my day, that I just sometimes don't have the time to stop and answer everything right then and there. So if it's urgent, yes, I'll respond as need be, but like I said, I try to get back to the shop before the guys do. That when they start rolling in, talk to them a little bit about how their day went, and if they have any issues, and making sure they get ready for tomorrow. But yeah, I'll once I run through this will take me, it's just me, and there's just one clock, but there's 2 buildings. I think there's 12, 13 zones here. It'll take me about an hour, hour and a half, so that'll put me right around 2:30 in about 30 minutes to get back to the shop. So hopefully I'm right on time. Fingers crossed nothing happens, but I'm not going to hold my breath as far as, hopefully I don't get pulled off of here and have to come back to it, and I can get done with it and be done with the spring startups for my clients that are on this side of town. Oh, the drip is what I was going to say. The drip, there's a good bit of drip out here. Obviously, I can't go to every emitter, but typically, you know where the drip zones are, and you can stand there and listen for it. And as long as there's no water spewing out of the distribution tubing or anything of that nature, you can hear the water flowing out of the emitters as it should be. Drip's kind of one of those things that it's a love-hate relationship. Yeah, I get why it's used. It conserves water, but as far as a maintenance standpoint, and I put maintenance standpoint in air quotes because it can be a nightmare if you truly do it how it needs to be done. But you know, I'm gonna be as transparent with y'all during these videos as I possibly can. You can't go to every emitter, or you'd be out here for literally hours upon hours and possibly days to go to each emitter and check every one and make sure it's working like it should. Like, I've got one property that probably has almost, I mean, I don't even know, I'd say miles and miles of drip running through it, and there's just no way to check it all. It's just one of those things that you have to monitor the plant material closely, and if it shows any signs of, you know, that it's dying, or, you know, there's a lack of water, so to speak, then you have to jump on it. So like I was saying, some people love it, some people hate it. It's a love-hate relationship for me. Like I said, I get why it's used. And that, you know, some say the install process, depending on how much you got to lay, is easier because everything's not necessarily underground. But, you know, it's just a personal opinion. So yeah, I'm gonna jump on this while I still got time to do so before I gotta head back to the shop. And then actually I'll probably stop by and see one of the enhancement crews on my way to the shop that's putting out some pine straw and mulch at the property. It's right by the shop, so after I leave here, do what I need to here. I'll stop by, check on them, make sure everything's good, and then roll on back to the shop, and I'll touch base with y'all again. Kind of tell you, just kind of give you a brief overview of how my day went, any issues, and see, you know, see if y'all have any questions. Feel free to comment how y'all do things. If there's anything you'd change, kind of how about how y'all go about doing your day. I'd be interested to see. This day went fairly smoothly, but you know, I'd be curious to see how other landscaper owners, account managers, how their day goes and how they go about each day. So yeah, let me get to it, and then I'll see y'all back at the shop. All right, guys and girls, just got done doing that assessment at the daycare, made my way back to the shop. Everything went good, didn't have any major leaks or anything of that nature. Had to make some minor adjustments on the rotors and a few spray heads, but other than that, getting good coverage. Made sure the clock was set up correctly. The date, time, made a small adjustment on the start time, just because the client was requesting that. He said when some of the kids would get on the playground that some of the sod in some areas were low-lying areas were still pretty saturated and whatnot, and I just adjusted the start time to come on a little bit earlier in the morning. That way, hopefully it has a little bit longer of a time to dry out before the kids get on the playground. But yeah, day went pretty good. Other than that, small little incident with a crew of mine somehow losing something I just gave them, and having to drive all the way back across town to go give them one that I had, the 4-way, the water key, Silcock, whatever you want to call it. I got everything I needed to get done, so I'm pretty much done with the irrigation assessments with that portion of town that I was on. Didn't video stopping by the enhancement crew that was doing some straw mulch, just because I was trying to get back to the shop. I've got some things I got to do and get done before I get out of here. But yeah, give us some feedback, or give me some feedback on, you know, how y'all do it, any issues y'all have, spring startups as far as irrigations go. You know, if there's anything you change. Obviously, I'm doing this on my phone. I walked out and got to the first property and thought I probably should have brought the GoPro, but we'll get there, and at some point we'll have a chest cam or a hat cam where we can put the GoPro on and get some more like POV video type things. So yeah, we're just going to try to keep pumping these out, and tomorrow we have another podcast. Not sure exactly what we'll be talking about, but yeah, we'll answer any questions. Y'all like and subscribe on all the platforms. Pretty soon we'll be doing a giveaway when we reach and we'll announce that and how many subscribers. You know, we'll need, you know, whether or not it's 200-300 subscribers before we do the giveaway or what. I'm not quite sure yet, but us guys will get together on that and figure all that type stuff out. But yeah, give us some good feedback. We'll answer any questions through email or comment in the comment section. Anything like that. But yeah, I'm just back here at the office, gonna go through some paperwork, do a few quotes that I gotta do, and wait on these guys to kind of trickle in, and then kind of get out of here. So yeah, give us some feedback, and we'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. So like I said in an earlier video, we're still new to this, still new to getting used to having a camera in our face and how to go about doing some of these videos. So some of them may seem elementary, but you know, as we do them, I know we'll get better at them and have better video quality, like I said, better POVs and even some voiceovers and stuff like that. So I really think we got some exciting things coming, but we just gotta stay consistent with it. So yeah, look forward to doing another video with y'all, and like I said, watch the podcast, and like and subscribe on all the platforms we got, whether it be Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, everything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna get out here and get out of here, do some things at the office, and then we'll get back to it. So hopefully we'll do another video soon. Thank y'all.